Good morning. What's up, everybody? How y'all doing? It is your diva in knowledge, Lady Mocha, representing Mocha's Cafe de Paris, where I'm always serving you wisdom, knowledge, and spiritual awareness. Again, I want to thank each and every one of my subscribers, my A1s from day ones. I thank y'all for still supporting me, still rocking with me throughout this whole journey, still being so loyal to my channel, still being supportive of my platforms. Again, I want to thank all my A1s from day ones. Those of you who have recently subscribed, I thank you for deciding to subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate that. I think I'm a little over 3,000 in subscribers, and I'm almost getting slowly but surely, I'm getting to 4,000 in subscribers. So again, I definitely want to thank you, and to me, that's a big accomplishment. And for those of you, if this is your first time ever hearing any of my content, and you like the content that you hear today, please make sure that you join the family, you subscribe, and you share, and I would really be grateful for that. So, moving right along with today's content, I wanted to talk about how toxic fathers have ruined black women. Yes, I thought it was very imperative that I talked about this because toxic fathers have ruined a lot of black women for years. YouTube content creators have been pushing the narrative that black women have become dysfunctional due to the absence of fathers not being in the home and only being raised by dysfunctional single mothers. This has been a narrative that black women have become dysfunctional due to not having a father. However, the truth is not all black women were raised in single parent households. In fact, there are a lot of black women that have had the advantage of being raised by both parents. There's this myth that if a black woman has a father, there's less odds of her becoming dysfunctional. There's a myth that only black women stand a chance of having a stable life if they had an active father. But what I noticed is that no one is addressing black women who were raised by their fathers, but their fathers happen to be narcissistic, toxic, and in many unspoken cases, abusive. Let's be honest. Like all black mothers are not good mothers, not all black fathers are good fathers. If you are a black woman that had the privilege of having a father in your life, you most likely had you most likely had one of these types of fathers that I'm getting ready to explain, and I'm going to go into the different type of fathers. I was fortunate to have two active fathers in my life. I had my biological father who missed my premature years when I was transitioning from a young woman to an adolescent, so he missed out on all of those years, but my biological father did come back into my life practically by the time I was grown, when I was 17, 18. But I also had my stepfather, who's been a father to me since I've been 3 years old. So I've been fortunate to have the blessing of having two strong, solid black men in my life, to really be there for me and really show me the love that unfortunately, a lot of black women will never have that privilege or that blessing to be able to experience. So I'm fortunate in that I had two strong black men, which is the reason why I'm very balanced. I don't have a certain level of hatred that some black women may have, because I know what it's like to be loved and respected and appreciated by a black man, because I've been raised, like I said, by two strong black men, by biological and my stepfather. So, and again, that's because my mother, she made the decision to allow a man to raise me that she knew would be an asset to me, that she knew would be a blessing to me. A lot of these women these days, they will pick up anybody and allow anybody to father their children. They don't care if he's stable. They don't care if he's not a good leader or a good provider. So, it just goes to show you how old school women back then are different from the way these women are now. These women will pick up anybody because it's more so for them, and it's not what's in the best interest of the child. So I thought it was imperative that I go into this because, again, there is this myth that most black women are dysfunctional, and most black women are having issues and difficulty with being able to function in relationships and function with black men, and it's all because black women were raised by single black women. And that is not always the case. I personally know black women who have had both parents in the household. And there's this myth that if there's a black man in the household, that okay, there's less chances of a black woman being raised by her black father. There's less chances of her becoming a statistics. There's better chances of her knowing how to submit to a black man, knowing how to care for a black man, because she's been raised by a black man. And I can honestly tell y'all, I know some women who have had black fathers who did not set the best example. You have some black men, again, that are just as dysfunctional as some of us as black women out here. But see, we don't want to talk about these dysfunctional black men. We just want to keep beating a dead horse with these dysfunctional black women. And trust and believe, I'm not saying we don't have dysfunctional black women. I'm not saying that we should give dysfunctional black women a pass and just focus on dysfunctional black men. What I am saying is we need to focus on both. Let's not just keep highlighting the failures and the dysfunction of black women, and yet we're overlooking the dysfunction of black men, because black men and black women, they both have the power to raise a child to be successful, or to raise a child to be a failure, to become a failure. So it takes two these days. So we're not talking about the single parent, the single mother households, although I have done content on that. For those of you who have never viewed any of my other content, I have done content on how single mothers have created the majority of troubled black males and troubled black females. I've already done content addressing single black mothers that are leading the households and are not doing their duties as a mother, which is causing these young black men who step out into the world and partake in the gang activity to become single fathers. I've already explained how single mothers have had a significant influence on why there are so many troubled black males and black females. So I've already done content on that, and you're welcome to view it at any given moment. So I don't want anybody up here thinking that I'm always just riding the black males and I don't never address the single black women, because I have done it several times. So check my resume before you think that I'm only just, addressing black males, because I've done content on single black mothers several times who have caused dysfunctional black females and black males. So I've already addressed that. All right. So I'm going to address right now the different types of fathers. Some of you as black women, you may be able to identify if you had this kind of father. Those of you as black men, you may be this kind of father and you just don't know it. Or maybe you're a black man who's married to a black woman and you don't understand why your black wife does not know how to nurture to you as a wife. She's not able to relate to your struggles as a black man. It may have everything to do with the type of black man who raised her upbringing, because again, the black YouTube sector keeps beating the same topic. They keep drilling the same issue. They want to keep pushing this narrative that it is black single mothers that are ruining the black community. But at the same time, we have these toxic, narcissistic black fathers that have also created a lot of mental collateral damage to their black sons and their black daughters. So we're going to talk about a different father. So we're going to go with number one, which is the active father. Now, this is one of the type of fathers that are one in a few of the most positive type of fathers influences to have. The active father is a father that's fully involved. This type of father actually plays a significant role in parenting. Means he's always been hands-on. Basically, this type of father has taught his daughter, son how to drive, how to conduct a business. He kept up with their grades in school. He kept up He attended father and daughter dances. I mean, he's actually went to sports events, recitals. He's actually met the boyfriends that his daughter was dating. He taught his daughter a lot about men. He taught his son a lot about women. But in this instance, I want us to stay on one topic since we're talking about women. He taught her purpose as a woman in the world. He complimented his daughter. He was pretty much involved in almost every aspect of her life. He was very protective, an excellent provider. He gave her rules. He gave her structure. This is the type of father I had. My stepfather was a very, very active, hands-on father. He actually would come to my schools, talk to my teachers. He would actually keep up with my grades. He would meet my boyfriends. He would size them up, interview them before they took me out anywhere. He was a very hands-on father. Very active, stayed in every aspect of my life. I remember when I was, let me see, I think I was like 6 or 7. And we had the donut with dad day. And it was like a little event at the school where the dads would come and sit in the cafeteria with their kids and actually have a donut and some coffee. And I remember my stepdad actually came and sat with me at that table and ate a donut with me. This is little things that has shaped my view as a black woman. I had the blessing of having a father that was there through every aspect, those little precious moments. I can remember those moments, how he was just always there with every little thing, every little event in my life. He played a role in it. And I'm blessed and fortunate that I had a stepfather who was not my biological father. But to this day, if you were to tell him, that I'm just a stepdaughter, he's not trying to hear that. He would tell you, no, that's my daughter. We don't look at each other as step anything. He's definitely my dad. And, my biological father, he respects that. And him and my dad, they get along really well. They got a lot of love for each other. You know what I mean? So it ain't never been no animosity, hatred. Sometimes that's the gift with most black men. They can both, realize that they both can be an asset to a child. Women, on the other hand, we don't always have that luxury. You have the biological mother hating on a stepmother and the stepmother hating on a biological mother. It's just always been messy with women. But men, on the other hand, they've always been able to balance, to separate their emotions and been able to think logically. Now, you do have some baby daddies that are baby daddy drama. They hate on the stepdaddy because they feel like the stepdaddy got more of an involvement in a child's life, and they want to give their baby mama a difficult time. So I'm just fortunate. We're from the old school where everybody knew how to stay in their damn lane. And this day and age, these stepmamas or these baby mamas, people don't know how to play their role and stay in their damn lane, which is why there's always conflict and drama. But this is one of the type of fathers that some black women have had the blessing of having, is an active father. If she has had an active father, there are less chances of her being very toxic and not knowing how to function in healthy marriages and healthy relationships. If she had a stable father, she already is used to having that masculine authority in her life. So therefore, she doesn't have a problem with being submissive within reason. Not be a slave, gentlemen. Being submissive. There's a difference. Meaning she knows how to allow a man to lead because she's used to having a man in her house. She's been raised in an environment in which she's used to a man leading. So she knows how to fall back. But at the same time, she doesn't allow him to lead so much to the point that she cannot think for herself and cannot handle business for herself. So just let's keep that in mind, that there's a difference between being submissive and being a goddamn slave. Okay, so that's the first type of father. The second type of father is not a bad father, but at the same time, this type of father is negligent in some areas. This type of father is the provider. Basically, he is just that. a provider and nothing else. He pays the bills. He makes sure the household is financially being contributed. He's financially contributing to the household. But that's it. He don't feel like he has to do anything else, okay? We got to take away this myth that just because a man is in the household, a child is getting the best of both worlds. We got to get rid of that narrative because that's not always true. Although being a provider is a good thing, that shouldn't be the only thing he does. You have some men, some fathers, where all they do is pay the bills. Basically, when he comes home from work, he has very little interaction, if any, with his children. You have some fathers that worked long hours, rarely spent time with the family, just comes home, takes a hot shower, asks his wife to fix him a hot plate, and he goes to bed. Fathers like this just perceive their families as a responsibility instead of a blessing. He gets in his man cave by sitting on his recliner. He pops him a beer, turns on the sports channel, and everyone knew not to say anything to him or not to even bother him while he was in his man cave or his man zone. You know, I done worked all day. Only thing I want to do is come home, take a shower, get a hot plate, and after that, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want nobody coming into my man cave talking to me, asking me how my day was. I don't want to talk to my kids. I don't sit to the dinner table and talk to my kids and ask them how their day was or whatever. You know, you have some men, they just feel like that's all they have to do as fathers. This type of father has no involvement. He's just a provider and nothing more. You have some men that are just very what's the word? They just don't really try to really bond with their families. I remember when my mom and my stepdad, the one I told you about that's been in my life for a significant amount of time. I remembered when my stepdad and my mom divorced, and he was still a part of my life. You know, he didn't not have anything to do with me anymore because him and my mother was divorced. I was still able to go visit him, because like I said, he was my biological father, but my siblings were. So when he would send for my siblings, he would send for me. He never left me out the equation at all. When they would fly during the summer to him, I had a plane ticket too. So he never allowed the differences between him and my mom to divide me and him. You know, he still was very active in my life. Now, when they had divorced, that's when my mom had met another gentleman, which is my baby brother's father. And I just remember, my brother's father always being a hard worker. You know, he always had good jobs. I remember he was driving for Pepsi. He was I forgot those guys, what profession that is when they carry money around. Is it an arm or something? I can't remember. I'm sure somebody will mention it. But yes, he used to drive trucks with money. He always had I'm gonna have to type that up. What profession? Because that's gonna bug me till I figure out profession. Trucks the money. I know it's armor something. I can't remember what it was. Armored vehicle drivers. He was an armored vehicle driver. Armored guard transporter, something like that. Okay, but basically he always worked really good jobs. But I just remember when he came home, when he would come home from work, he just stayed in his own zone. He sat in the living room and he just didn't really talk to us. He didn't really interact with us. He just stayed in his own zone. And I'll never forget one time, I remember being maybe like 11 or 12 years old, and I was watching cartoons. I was watching something on TV. And he came in from work, after working a long day, and I'm up there watching my cartoons. I remember he walks in there and he just clicks the channel. And he said, y'all's got your own TV upstairs. It was like he really didn't want us around. Um, it's like, oh, I've been working all day. I don't want to be bothered. I'm in my man cave. Go on about your business. I don't want y'all in my space. And I would just remember him being pretty cold, kind of nasty. You know what I mean? Like, and I was not used to that because my stepfather, like I said, was always very nurturing and stuff. So I wasn't used to a man being mean like that. You know what I mean? And I just remember me and him bumped a lot of heads. We kept bumping heads because, I just felt as a child. And like I said, it's things that as an adult we have experienced as a child, and you never forget it. I don't care how small it is. You never forget when somebody has made you feel a certain way or somebody has done something to you. And I just remember him kind of being an ass, all the time when he came home from work. But he always paid the bills. Our lights was never turned off. Our water was never turned off. But there was no connection. There was not a loving spirit coming from him. And you have a lot of black women who've been raised by men as their fathers who have never really bonded with them. All they ever did was pay the bills. You knew your house never went lacking. You had the best Christmases. You probably had the best birthday gifts, but you and the man never talked. Y'all never interacted, and that's a very unfortunate thing. You have a lot of black women who've been raised in households with black men who were providers but not fathers. They're gonna pay the bills, they're gonna make sure everybody eat, and that's it. They don't feel like they have to do anything else. They don't have to spend no time with their family. They don't feel like, hell, in many cases they don't even help the mama raise the kids. The mother raised the kids. Now, these type of fathers, they will only step in like if somebody did something bad. Now, you want to step in and discipline somebody. And that's another, I need to write that down too, because that's another type of father that I need to mention, the disciplinary. Okay, so we're going to talk about that too. All right, so that's one type of father that's, like I said, he's not really a threat, but at the same token, he's not active. He's just there. And what's the point of just being there, just being around, being present, but you're not active at all. You're not hands-on at all. You feel like as long as you work, that's it. You lock yourself up in your room. You don't want nobody saying anything to you. You don't want the kids talking to you. You don't want your wife asking how your day is. I mean, that's just how it is. That's how it be sometimes, Another type of father, and a lot of these men don't get too much credit. The single father. Some black women were raised without mothers. We don't never address this. It's a lot of single dads out there. If he was a good father, she still had the advantage of being raised and being taught by her father how to be wife ready. Now, I just named the 3 types of fathers that are good fathers. Now we will talk about the worst type of fathers. So before we get into the worst type of fathers, yes, you have some single fathers out there. As long as he was pretty much providing the daughter with all the basic necessities in order for her to be successful in life. You have women who have just been raised specifically by their dads, didn't have a mother. Maybe the mother died. Or maybe the mother was neglectful and left the child. And it's a lot of single fathers out there who were put in positions where the mother just didn't give a damn. The mother either got strung out on drugs and left, or you got some women that are piss poor mothers. She wanted to party, she wanted the club, she wanted to do her, she didn't want to be no mother, so he had to take on the role to be the mother and the father. You have a lot of single fathers out there that have had to be the role of the mother and the father. These dudes don't get a lot of credit. They don't get a lot of acknowledgement. They don't get a lot of appreciation. They don't get empathy and sympathy. The state does not give single fathers food stamps or WIC. I know in some states they do. I've known a couple of men who were able to get food stamps. I guess it all just depends on the situation. So the system has aided men that are single dads, but not rarely, because men are expected to be men. We are in a sexist society where men are expected to be men. Women, on the other hand, they can get away with being trifling, not working, not having a job. The system gonna look out for them anyway. But those are pretty much, like I said, the idealistic. Those are decent type of dads. You might have been lucky to have the single father who was a good father, the provider, and the active father. Now, these are the dysfunctional type of black fathers, okay? Because again, there's a myth that black women could only be successful if there's a black man and a black woman raising them. And that is not true. Again, there are some dysfunctional black men who are not good father material. Like as the saying go, any man could be a daddy, but it takes a real man to raise a child. You know what I'm saying? So the first worst type of father influence is the abuser. This was a type of father that would come home drunk every night, beating his wife, beating on his children, and he was basically a tyrant to his family. Black women that have been raised by these type of fathers will most likely end up marrying or getting in relationships with abusive men, because she was raised in this type of environment which made abuse normal, or she will avoid these type of men altogether because it traumatized her as a child being raised under one. Not only have some black women been verbally and physically abused, many have been sexually abused. The sad part is a lot of these mothers knew the father was sexually abusing their children and did absolutely nothing to protect them. 7 out of 10 women have experienced sexual abuse or sexual molestation from their own father. Now, this is a very, very touchy subject. Again, nobody in the black YouTube sector wants to go deep and talk about these type of issues. This is one of the reasons you have a lot of black women around here that are highly dysfunctional. I personally know 3 black women who were raised in a household with a very highly abusive, authoritative father. He basically had a lot of control over them. Not only had a lot of control over them mentally and physically, but sexually. He had been sexually involved with his daughters. He have had relations with his daughters. You have a lot of black women who have been sexually abused and sexually molested by their black fathers, but we don't want to talk about this on YouTube. We just want to make it seem like some black women are just dysfunctional and effed up because they just effed up. It's a reason for everything. Now, I will say this. Not all black women were raised in this type of environment. So you do have some black women that are dysfunctional because they are just damn dysfunctional. But in most cases, there's some type of dysfunctionality if you really look into her history and you really find out the man who raised her. You have some men that are very abusive. You know, they beat on the children, beat on the wives, they get drunk. Back in the 70s and 80s, when the crack era, cocaine era, some of these men, these fathers, was not able to deal with the everyday stress of being a husband and a father. Overburdened, not having enough of work, not being able to provide enough of income. Men who were not able to really be men and provide for their families. Some of these men would feel down on themselves and feel sorry for themselves and would take their frustrations out on their families, would take the frustration out on the wife, beating on the wife. I remember the movie Straight Outta Brooklyn. I don't know if any of y'all ever saw it, but when I tell you, Straight Out of Brooklyn is one of my favorite classic movies. I believe that movie came out in the late 80s or something. If y'all have never seen it, I'm telling you, it is a very good classic movie. I forgot who the director of it is. I'm going to look it up. But I definitely want y'all to look at that movie because it'll give you a perception of, okay, the movie came out in 1991. It'll give you a perception of what some black women go through or what some black women have gone through with having a black father raising them. The movie was directed by Matty Rich. The movie came out in 1991. And I know one of the leads in the movie was the son. He goes by the name of Dennis. He's actually known as Larry Gilliard. Those of you who are fans of The Wire. If you know, if you watch the movie, you'll definitely recognize him right away because he's been on several of the shows of The Wire. I've always been a big fan of The Wire. But anyhow, it basically showed how the father was struggling taking care of him and his sister, and this joker would come home every night and just be beating the mother, just beats the mother. After beating on the mother, he will, throw all the dishes, bust all the dishes up, bust up their furniture, knowing they already struggling, knowing they living in the projects. He could not deal with the responsibilities of being a father. And you have some men, they don't see their families as a blessing. You have some men who see their families as a burden. They see their family as a bill. Every man is not proud to be a father, contrary to what many may think. Every man is not happy being a husband. You have some men who hate the fact that they married a woman who's not an asset to them. And I find it amazing how you have some of these men who want to marry women that are docile, who don't have a backbone, who don't have a voice. And then when times get hard and they want this woman to help them or be an asset to them, she does not know how, because he has regulated and ran the show for so long. She don't know how to help him think with anything. She don't know how to intervene. She doesn't know how to basically be of help to him, and he resents her for that, and he beats on her for that. He lashes out on her for that. You have a lot of men, they want a puppy, they want a puppet, they want a slave. But when a slave does not know how to do anything but just be a slave, now you angry with her. But see, that's the woman you chose. You wanted a woman that didn't have a backbone. You wanted a woman that would only do what you said do, to the point she don't know how to think for herself. And she don't know how to help you think with anything. So all the weight and all the burdens is left on you. And you have a lot of abusive men that hate their submissive wives. Let me tell you something. All this talk about women got to be submissive. I know women who have been submissive and they are paying the price for it. Their husbands hate them because all they know how to do is do what they say do. He get in the jam, something happens, she can't think for shit because he's always been the one to think for the both of them. She don't know how to speak up because he's always been the one to speak for the both of them. I know some women right now who have been in marriages that's been orchestrated like that. And now that he's old and up in his age, he wants her to step up and help out. She don't know how. You created this slave, and the slave don't know how to do anything but be a slave, but only do what you say do. And again, like I said, you have some very volatile black men out there who beat on their wives because they got an alcohol problem, or they got a control problem, or they have a drug problem. And if the wives are spineless, if the wives don't have a backbone, who do you think suffers also in the process? It is the children. The children end up suffering. Wives getting beat on, 9 times out of 10, he starts beating on the daughters, beating on the sons. You have a lot of abusive black men who have made their families become dysfunctional. Just because there's a father in the household, it does not mean that he's a good father. In fact, I know some single parent households in which some children have become successful because there was not a toxic, abusive man in the home beating or raping or molesting anyone. And I've known other households where both parents was there, but those kids were still raised dysfunctionally. And it's a lot of black women who have experienced some type of sexual abuse, sexual molestation. They have experienced it from their own fathers. You have some men that have abused their authority as fathers, and they have misused that authority. Going into their daughters' rooms 3, 4 in the morning, tampering with their innocence. And do you know how difficult that is? That your father, the man who birthed you, is also the man who's sexually, you know, abusing you and using you. That's a very difficult situation because you get mixed signals when it comes to love. And that's why a lot of black women are dysfunctional, because they have mixed signals. It's like, okay, this man loved me. He's supposed to be my father. But at the same time, he's abusing me. He's molesting me. He has taken my innocence. And that's how a lot of these women, black women, go out here and pick up pookies and pick up ray-rays. They think that's normal. It's okay for a man to abuse you, rape you, and still tell you he love you. Still hug you, still kiss you after he has tampered with your innocence for 45 minutes to an hour. While your mom is in the room knocked out sleep, she know what's going on, or she don't give a damn what's going on. So that's why you have a lot of black women who step out here into the world and they meet men just as dysfunctional as their black fathers. Because they've been taught it's normal for me to abuse you and still convince you that I love you at the same time. Okay, so this is something that, again, black people don't want to talk about this. All right, and it's real. It's happening every single damn day. You can't even imagine how many young black women don't want to go home after being out of school. They don't want to go home because they know when they go home and after they eat dinner and they take their bath, they know that their father is going to come in their room 3-4 in the morning and have his way with her sexually, and ain't shit she can do about it because her mother is a slave to the father. And she knows she's not protected because the man who should be protecting her is the man that's abusing her. Do y'all even understand how many black women are going through shit like that? Oh, y'all think it's only the white women who got fathers in Catholic churches and stuff like that? And believe it or not, you have some white women who have gone through it. Not as much as black women, though. Black women have always been the number one candidate of experiencing some level of child abuse and child molestation, because their fathers was on drugs, their fathers was alcoholic, or their fathers was demonically perverse. Because you have some men, they love children. They love touching little girls. They don't want a woman. They want something fresh and pure that they can be the first to penetrate. But y'all don't want to talk about that. That's too deep for y'all this morning. So we're going to go ahead and move along. But that's one of the worst type of fathers, the abuser. The deadbeat. He did not work or provide. This is the second worst type of toxic father that has ruined black women. The deadbeat. He did not work or provide. He made the mother work while he spent all the paychecks. He didn't care if there was food in the house. If the lights were cut off, he didn't care if his children had anything, and he wasn't financially helping his wife contribute. He may have done little odd jobs here and there, but he never had any solid income. You will be surprised, gentlemen and ladies, how many black women have had the mother and a father, but the father never worked. I know 2 of them. Father never had a job. The mother always worked. While he took the mother's check and did what he wanted to do. I know a woman who been a nurse every bit of 30-something years at the hospital. Her husband never worked a day's job in his life. He's always done stuff like fix up on people's cars and mow people grass for little $50, but he never worked. If he died today, she's not getting no Social Security check or anything from him. But if she were to pass before him, he'll be straight, because she's been a nurse for every bit of, like I said, 30-something years. But you have some men, just because you have a black father in your household, that does not mean he was a good father. That does not mean he was a good man. That does not mean he was a hardworking man. You have some black men that are sorry as hell. They will sit there knowing their family hungry, knowing their lights and the water off, and they won't go out there and hustle and do nothing about it. Now, don't get me wrong. We all have had hard times. We all have had struggles. I get it. Me and my husband fell on hard times, but you best believe when our backs was against the wall, he didn't just sit up there and let me and my daughter suffer. Well, oh well, if the lights get turned off, oh well. Before I was working and before I was able to really contribute and made, and all the income was on him, I can honestly say I was never one of those women that experienced not having. And my husband was sitting there letting me suffer. But you have some black men, they don't care if their families suffer. They don't care if there's no food in the refrigerator for their kids. You got some men who got bad habits. They like to gamble a lot. They gamble up all the money. Or they like to drink a lot. They drink up all the paycheck. But those for the ones who at least work. But the deadbeats, they don't even work. How as a man you can lay around all day long and that don't affect your masculinity? And your wife coming home, bringing home the bacon. Only thing you doing is eating the bacon. Why she bringing home the bacon? All black fathers who live in the home are not fathers, okay? Yes, you got some, they'll be right there under that same roof and don't do shit. Don't do absolutely nothing. The next type of father is the womanizer. This is the father that has always juggled excessive women. It didn't matter if he was married, even if married or not. He allowed his children to see him stepping out on women, stepping out on their mother, disrespecting women, and he conducted this type of male gigolo behavior in front of his daughter, which made her believe that it was normal for a man to always have several women at a time. I remember the movie like Eve's Bayou. The father was a doctor, and he would take his daughter with him to his doctor visits, because at that time doctors would actually make personal house visits in the movie, and he was screwing half of the female clients, and he didn't care that his daughter was there and witnessed it. You have some men that are womanizers. You have some black women that are traumatized because they have witnessed their father step out on their mother, cheat, mess around on their mother. I remember the rapper Nas. I don't know how true it is, but I remember one of his song lyrics. He basically stated his ex-wife Khalees witnessed her father step out on her mom with different women, and that had basically affected how she perceived men. So, from what Nas, the rapper, was saying was like, you allowing what you witnessed as a child with your father going out and stepping out on your mama. So that has shaped your perception that all men will cheat, all men will mess around. That's why you have some black women, they're overly insecure, they're overly paranoid. It's not always because she's just wanna be. A lot of it has to do with when the man you're supposed to love, the man who raised you, the man who gave birth to you, you seeing this man constantly step out on your mother. This man that's supposed to protect you, show you how a man's supposed to love a woman. The man that's supposed to show you that how a man is supposed to love you, honor you, and protect you. You see this man disrespect your mom. And you have some men that are just that bold. They will take their children with them to their mistress' house. Have them sit on the couch while they bang the mistress out. And buy the child an ice cream sandwich and say, hey, don't tell your mama what we was. Don't tell your mama what we was doing. Oh, lie. Oh, I was just in Miss Patricia bedroom because I was fixing her bed for her. I was fixing her toilet for her. You have some men that are just this dirty and grimy. They will do shit like that. Oh, but I forgot. Black men don't do stuff like that, And I'm not saying all black men do this. Because, again, I experienced having a good father. I'm just talking about these loser ass, these dysfunctional black fathers that have raised black women. No other content creator is hitting on this. And this is a big issue in the black community. You do have some married men who are womanizers. They are very disrespectful. If you're going to do your dirt, do it behind closed doors. Don't flaunt it in front of your wife or your children's face where your son or your daughter is seeing you mess with other women. But you have some black women who were raised in households where they see their mother get cheated on all the time. And what did the mother do? Make excuses. Or the mother acted like it wasn't going on. Because back then women were very docile. They felt like as long as he was paying the bills, as long as he contributing, if he want a hoe or have a sidekick or appetizer on the side, women back then, they looked at it like as long as he's providing. As long as he come home to me. And you got some women who think like that now, The next type of toxic father that has ruined black women is the pushover. The father was spineless. Her mother ran the whole show, and she treated him more like a child less than a husband. He has no backbone. He was soft. If she was raised in a household with this type of man, this type of father, she will not have respect for men as she gets older. She simply doesn't understand male authority because she has not witnessed any. You have some black men that are spineless. I know a few of them who allow their black wives to run the show. Not all black men are strong and authoritative. You have some that are spineless, that are weak, who lack leadership abilities. And they will let a woman run the show. They don't regulate anything. Black women who are raised under these type of spineless, weak, pushover men will have no respect for any black man that she meets. She will talk to him like he's nothing, belittle him, walk over him, disregard his feelings. She's seen her black mama do it to her black father for years. These type of women are definitely not good at having a functional relationship, a functional marriage. She has not been raised in a household where a man will stand up and say, no, this is the way it's going to be done. If a black woman been raised under the pushover father, she's definitely number one candidate of not having a successful marriage or successful relationship, especially if she meets a man who was raised in a household where his father taught him and raised him how to be dominant. That's why it's important that you, before you get in deeply involved with somebody, you find out their history, you find out how they was raised. Meet the father, meet the mother. You go to a cookout and you see the mama running every damn thing. Baby, could you fix me a plate of food? I ain't fixing your plate right now. Hold on. Little shit like that. You see how her mother talks to the daddy like trash and he sits there? Okay, baby. Whenever you're ready to fix me my plate, I'll wait. Come on. Now, this one I just thought about. I didn't add to the list, but I thought about it as I was talking to y'all. Another dysfunctional black father that I have in a household is the disciplinary. Now, you have some of these fathers, they only want to get involved when it's time to discipline a child. Other words, they take no part in raising the child, structuring the child, telling the child, go wash dishes. Did you do your homework? Go rake the yard. Only time they get involved is if the child gets in trouble in school. They want to whip the child. They want to spank the child. They want to put the child on punishment. And this is how children end up resenting their fathers, because it's like, damn, the only time I get any response from you is when I'm fucking up. I know, Lord, it's Sunday. Is when I'm messing up. I'm doing something bad. That's the only time I really get any attention from you. You have some men, they only step up when there's a problem. Other than that, everything is left on the mother. She got to be the one to make sure the kids cleaning their rooms, washing their dishes, doing everything. But let little Billy get a call from the principal that he's been cutting up in class today. Now you want to go get a switch. Now you want to go get a belt and whip him. That's not good either. Because if the only contact that a father has with his child is negative contact, meaning you only come around when you got to spank them, beat them about something, after a while, they'll gain that negative perception. Like, my father is just mean. He's just basically a a-hole. Only time I ever deal with him is when I'm messing up. Other than that, he don't talk to me. He don't interact with me. He don't ask me how my day was. None of that. You have some fathers that are strictly disciplined, not nurturing. Nothing wrong with disciplining your child, but at the same time, you got to hug them sometimes. Let them know you love them sometimes. You care for them sometimes. And you have some of these men, they get so consumed with doing what they want to do. They don't want to be bothered with their family. You have men that are so into doing their own thing. You have a man that's so into, like I know, for instance, some of these guys are content creators. I know when they get logged off, they got families, they got wives. A lot of these men don't want to be bothered with their wives. They don't want to be bothered with their children. They want to be on YouTube day in and day out and lecture and give topics and give advice, but at the same time, you have no control over your household. You got some men so into doing what they want to do. The moment their wife or they children come to them and want to talk to them about something, they lashing off. They going off. So I'm sure that I'm sure there are more types of toxic fathers that I have not mentioned. But overall, the overall point is not all black fathers that have been in the same household with their black daughters are good fathers. Every black woman didn't have a good father figure that possessed solid leadership skills. Let's not push this narrative that if there's a black father in the household, no, he has to be a stable black father. There's a difference. Not all black women grew up in households in which their black mothers respected the authority of the black male. Again, a reason why a lot of us as black women are out of pocket or we do not know to allow men to have a place is because we were raised in households where some of these men did not have a voice. They did not use their voice. They did not use authority. They did not have leadership. So we witnessed our mothers run the show on everything. So again, it's very important that when you get involved with a woman, you be very knowledgeable on the structure of how her parents interacted with each other. Was the father a pushover dude and the mama ran everything, or was the father the leader and the mom, pretty much stayed in her place as a woman? It's important that you know these things. And ladies, same thing with you. Because if you meet a man and his father was always overly dominant and the mother never had a voice, he may very well expect that from you. So again, these are things that we have to be mindful of whenever we decide to start building relationships with people. In conclusion, not every household that has had two parents was a non-dysfunctional house. In some cases, some of us as black women have been raised in households in which our black fathers was just uneducated, incompetent, and dysfunctional as our black mothers. This content is not to say we should give single parent households a pass, because there are some dysfunctional two parent households. But what it does say, what good is having two parents when both are emotionally, physically, financially, and spiritually unstable? Having a father doesn't guarantee a black woman becoming emotionally stable and successful, but having a good father has better chances of being emotionally stable and successful with relationships. So anyway, y'all, please leave your comment below. Before y'all leave, please make sure you hit that like button. Please share this. There may be a woman who's having issues with having healthy relationships with black men. It may have everything to do with the type of father who raised her. Maybe she does not know that. Sometimes we can't change things unless we are aware of the things that we need to change. So make sure you share this with someone. Maybe as a black man, you don't understand why your wife is having problems. Maybe now you have a better perception as to what has given her what has structured her way of how she deals with men. It may have everything to do with one of these men that I have just mentioned. She could have had a dysfunctional black father who was a man in the household, but he did not give her the necessary tools that she needs in order to have a healthy relationship with you as a black man. So anyhow, leave y'all comment below. Let me know what y'all think of this. Please make sure you hit that like button right now before you exit the room. It's free. It's not costing you anything. Make sure you hit that like button. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna go ahead and shut it down. I may do another upload today. It all depends on how I feel. I may come on live. I'm not sure. But anyway, y'all, appreciate y'all. Anybody who wants to cash out to my movement, $DymondGyrl at Yahoo. No, not Yahoo. I'm thinking about my email, but yeah, my cash app is $DymondGyrl, Diamond Girl. So anyway, y'all, I'm gonna shut it down. It's been awesome. It is your girl, your diva and knowledge, Lady Mocha. Remember, I'm gonna always tell you a couple truth, and I'm gonna always make you off a slice of knowledge. Y'all be blessed. Take care.